Hey there, Gemini. Welcome to my channel. I am Isaac, and we're going to get into your reading for September 2024. So I spent a little bit of time looking over your chart already, and one of the main things that I'm seeing here is that I think a lot of you guys are feeling kind of bored, especially when it comes to work. Like what you really want to do, what you really feel like you want to do, is like go out, hang out with friends, spend money on like entertainment, basically. Maybe even in a big way, because there's actually a grand trine happening here between Pluto, Uranus, and this Lilith and Venus conjunction. And Lilith, this little sign down here, it kind of represents the thing that you crave and want the most, but going after it actually ends up causing you more problems, and it actually ends up feeding into some kind of toxic, maybe trauma fueled thing, trauma fueled trait of some kind. But I think in general, like you're feeling kind of bored. You feel like work doesn't really challenge you. Whatever it is you do for work, it's probably somewhat intellectually oriented, and it doesn't challenge you. And maybe even if it did at some point, it no longer does because you kind of have the ability to. I mean, you have the quick and agile mind. You're really good at becoming. You get good at things quickly. You get really efficient with things quickly. And then even if it starts out being really complicated and difficult, after a couple months maybe you've got it down, and then it's no longer challenging. You start to get bored, um, and you've kind of learned. A lot of people tend to base their sense of self worth on what they do for work, but I don't think you do. I don't think your issue really at this point is valuing yourself. I think maybe you already do value yourself, which one of the few signs that I can actually say that about. I think one of the major things that most human beings are facing right now, whether they recognize it or not, is this sort of wound to the sense of self worth. But I kind of get the sense that there might be a little bit of that going on here, but it's not really the main theme for you guys. The main thing I think is that you just feel like unchallenged, like a bit bored, and this makes you want to go and spend more and more money probably on things like just entertainment, things that you'd like to do for fun. You just really want to have fun. This grand trine right here, which is kind of represents um, a grand trine is when you have three planets that are all making trines, right angle or right angled triangles. um, 90-degree triangles is what I meant to say. And it kind of serves like a circuit, like an electrical circuit where the energy flows very, very strongly and unimpeded. And in this case, that can actually be dangerous because it can cause you to want to, out of the desire to shake things up and change things, you want to spend more and more money or more and more time and just resources in general on kind of just entertaining yourself and having fun, probably with just one other person. Maybe you get really close to, maybe it's like a partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, or maybe just like a best friend where you really like, going out and doing things together. And that seems to be the thing that gives you the most enjoyment and satisfaction in your life right now. And so that you start wanting to pour more and more time and energy and money into doing that. But ultimately, you could end up kind of digging yourself into a bit of a hole because that can be a never ending process, because you can always spend more money. You can always find more stuff to go dump money and resources and time and energy into when it comes to just entertainment and fun. Um, so I think what you're really looking for is a sense of intellectual challenge, um, and novelty. Newness, just new things to kind of keep you entertained and distracted. And even if you are doing really well financially right now, which is a possibility with Jupiter being in your sign of Gemini, um, this month could change that if you're not careful. It could be you could become, with Mars moving through your second house here, it would be very easy if you get into a negative pattern, like a negative spending pattern, or like overdoing it. You could really do some damage to your finances this month if you're not careful. And it's all rooted in trying to find this intellectual challenge and novelty, newness. Um, but the problem with seeking novelty, novelty basically just means things that are new to you, but it wears off really fast, and you eventually kind of run out of things. Um, Unless, of course, you just keep spending more and more money on more and more extravagant things that you've never experienced before, which is kind of the pattern that I see, the potential pattern I see emerging here. So let me pause the video real quick and take a look at a few things to see what it is that you can do that will help you with this. Okay, so after a few minutes of looking at this, I think what might actually be helpful here is physical challenges, being very physically active with other people. Maybe the problem is that you think that you're seeking intellectual challenge, but nothing really challenges you that much intellectually. So, I mean, that's kind of the Gemini thing. You guys are very quick, you're very smart, you adapt quickly, you learn quickly, and you just get bored quickly because of it. So maybe what you're actually seeking without maybe realizing it is to liberate yourself from that need, from that constant need, that super fast mind of yours. Instead of feeding it more and more and more and more stuff, which never really satisfies it. What you're really looking for is to be free of it, to be able to turn it off, to make that mind just be quiet, shut up for a while. And I think one of the ways you can do that, and what the universe is sort of pushing you towards, see, I just circled this thing I just circled here is the North Node. The North Node represents kind of the direction the universe is sort of pushing you in. It's kind of the way it wants you to go. And so, being in areas in your 11th house, I really feel like this has to do with just being active, moving your body, um, doing things that are not necessarily completely group oriented, or things that it's like it's an individual sort of sport or thing that you like that you're doing, but with other people. The image that just flashed in my mind, and this is just a random example, is like maybe like kayaking. You know, you can like you both have your own little boats and your own paddles, but you're doing it together, but it's still separate, it's still individual. And I think that's something along those lines might be extremely helpful for you and enjoyable as well. And if you feel like I don't really, you haven't gotten into anything physical. Maybe you feel like you're out of shape, perhaps. That's okay. You won't be for long if you start doing other things. You don't have to challenge yourself super hard right at first, but you may find that you start enjoying being more physical and less intellectual, which I know to Gemini is like, what? Why would I want to be less intellectual? Well, because you're making yourself miserable by being too intellectual. That's why, um, to put it bluntly. Um, and it could be an adjustment. It could feel a little bit like a slog at first, or like a challenge, but I think you'll adapt to that quickly as well, and you can get to a point where the same sense of challenge and novelty that you were seeking intellectually, um, you can find that same sort of feeling through more physically oriented challenges or things that you do that are kind of difficult physically. But there's always a way to keep strengthening and keep moving forward and upping the game on that kind of stuff, more so than with the intellectually oriented stuff. I hope that makes sense. I don't know if I'm really explaining that very well. For instance, you can always get stronger. Say just um, as another example, sticking with the kayaking idea, you can always get stronger and get better at steering things around and moving your boat around. You can always find different environments to do it in, different levels of difficulty in the course and whatnot. And even when you get really good at it, the more challenging ones they remain challenging, because it's just the difference in the arena of intellectual challenges versus physical challenges. Again, anyways, I don't know if I'm really making sense on that one, but we'll go ahead and just move on from that. So yeah, I think the main theme we're looking at here is that you're going through you're entering a new chapter of like your relationship to fun. Um, but it's going to involve having to try some new things. You should probably also, don't be afraid to be vocal about it. If you are feeling really bored in your life and you're afraid that if you tell people that you want to start doing things differently, you're kind of tired of the way things have been and you're just not feeling satisfied, there could be a bit of a fear of expressing that out of maybe not wanting to hurt certain people's feelings. Um, but you gotta, and if it hurts their feeling, you don't have to do it harshly at all. And probably people are going to be more receptive to this than you might think. They probably won't be. They'll probably be like, "Oh yeah, I was kind of feeling the same thing," or "I could kind of tell that you were feeling that way." Thanks for saying so. So don't worry about. Don't be afraid to speak up about it. And again, the main thing to watch out for is, if you have a habit of going on expensive date nights, or just spending a lot of money on um, entertainment, video games, whatever whatever it is you like to do for fun. If you find that you do tend to sink a lot of money into entertainment of one form or another, this might be a good time to try to find something else that is less intellectual and more physical, and probably won't cost as much money. I mean, maybe it will. It doesn't, but in general, you're gonna, even if you go out and do stuff all the time, if you're doing things more on the physical level, you're going to end up probably spending a little less money, maybe more upfront if you're buying expensive gear and equipment for whatever sport you're getting into. But over time, the more intellectual side of entertainment stacks up a lot faster financially. It gets way more expensive. And you might think right now, like, oh, that's okay. I'm making decent money right now. But with Mars here, you might find that you burn through things a little quicker than you might think if you kind of go down that path. So, anyways, I think we're gonna keep this video a little bit short. So go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button if you do enjoy this video and you want to see more of them. Hit the notification. I do offer private readings. I'll do natal charts, astrological forecasts, as well as tarot readings. All the information you need to contact me is down below in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon. Take care.